Hey guys, today we're going to be reviewing a very large set. This will probably be one of the longest review videos I've made just in general. This is LEGO set 71741 Ninjago City Gardens. It has 5,685 pieces and was released in January of this year, 2021. And so of course this has a lot of minifigures to it, so I'll be going over that throughout the set. There are so many features to it and it's really tall. It's probably one of the tallest LEGO sets I own. And as you can see, it can barely fit inside my big screen. I can't even fit the satellite part on the top tower. That's how big this thing is. It is massive. Way bigger than the original version of the Ninjago City, which I owned and reviewed 3 years ago, which is pretty crazy to think about. So first with the set, I definitely want to look over around the outside of it, because I'm going to be splitting it up into the 5 or 6 different sections that you can put it into, because this thing is massive. And to better review it, I definitely want to split it up. But the outside is, of course, big, really nice. It's kind of hard to turn around because, unlike the original, it's not like the base is not in a square shape. Because this Zane part can detach, which I will be showing that off separately because it is huge too. But now it's more of a kind of squarish shape with the base, like the original version was. That one had an elevator, which you can kind of connect, but I think I have it connected through here. This is an end part. So it's actually here, technically. And there's kind of base section at the back. Really interesting view here. There's a lot of different ways you can climb around. And of course, this is the other section with some signs and big trees. So this first section is the Zane Memorial, which is its own kind of separate thing, resting on its own faceplate and everything. The water detailing and grass, it's amazing how they did that with this whole set. Way better than the original Ninjago City set. But still, they definitely made this part too small, but for the size they're going for, it definitely looks fine. The Zane figure isn't too accurate, but again, for what they're trying to do, it looks decent. They definitely should have gone with the different armor piece, though, and besides that, it looks fine. I think it's just that, and they needed to include his sword. If they did those two things, it would have been perfect. These pillars are kind of small, but in comparison to the Zane figure, they look fine. But overall, this is supposed to be like a small kind of thing on the side to add to it, because it isn't matched as well, but this is a lot of the gardens with it. And this temple is really kind of small and nice. I like how they did that perfectly. So next we'll go over the first 2 levels, which is pretty simple. It's more of the older Ninjago Town style stuff. So of course you have Jay and Nia who are sitting on the bench, and this is them in their casual outfits. We rarely, if ever, I don't think we've really ever gotten the ninja not from the movie, just from the show in their casual outfits, because they really aren't in them that much. But I think it's definitely a good idea, and they put in 3 of the ninja in their casual outfits in this set. They do a lot of these plants. What I like is that they include the weapons pack pieces, like the katanas and all that, for the plants, and they do them in the green color, which is pretty cool. Of course, I kind of shine the light on this part before, but it is really cool how they did that with the rocks. They even used the cap piece for a rock, which is nice. And so there's obviously these buildings here as well, different trees. They use this dove piece, which is in the mini Disney series last year, and they put it in this little nest part. That works out well if I can fit it back on there. But this part is... There we go. So there's also these different buildings. They finally included the mechanic, which is a villain from the show that appeared a while ago. I think from season 6. They finally did him. He doesn't have a robotic arm, actually, technically, but it's not that how it looks like in the show. But I still think they did a pretty good job of him. I'm glad they included him in a set. Also, they used a power blast piece for the water, which is, you can kind of see it. That looks pretty neat. And now we'll go over the buildings. There's also Clutch Powers in there, who I don't think is exclusive, but there's 4 main kind of buildings here. This first one is just a small kind of shop, where it's like potions or something in there. There's this figure with purple hair. It's just small kind of looking stuff. It's nothing special in there, just like a noodles or whatever. I think it's like selling noodles and stuff. Take this building off. Oh yeah, some of these buildings you can take off like this, and you can show them individually. This is Ronan's shop, and I just took it out kind of weirdly, but that's what's under the shop. There's a bunch of weapons and trophies and stuff, and some bins, and you can access that through that trap door, which kind of popped out kind of weirdly. If you place that back in, There's a lot of interesting things in the shop. There's an old Atlantis like trident piece, some kind of knickknacks, a ladder to the next floor, a map of Ninjago, and some books and stuff. A lot of weird little interesting things in there. Little top hat. So it's just a nice kind of little store, but a lot of it's kind of hidden in there. So on top of Ronin's shop is this kind of little tea hut. There's some tea in there. That's what the Ronin figure is. I'm pretty sure that's the same as the 2016 one, but I'm not sure. And that's where you can get access to that ladder. You can just easily place this on top of there. I kind of have to make sure that fits nice and snug. But that's pretty much that building. Nothing much going on there. What's cool is that they include a Ninjago fan's apartment. And there's a bed with like some Ninjago sheets. There's these catamarans, which are a set that just came out, and along with the Villain's Lair, which I own actually. There's a Kai Ninja Charger, what's supposed to be that. Can't tell what that set is, but I can't tell really. And there's a Zane figure in the back, some poster for new Ninjago City. You can fit that on top of there. Actually, you have to flip it around. And what's cool is that on the third floor, there's another vehicle, and this might be hard to show because I put this third level back in. But that's what's supposed to be Jay's jet, I think. That's only, or that actually no, it's gotta be like a dragon. I think it might be the lightning dragon or something. I can't fully tell. I definitely has to be. I don't know. It's probably a lightning dragon, but it might be the jet. But it's kind of hard to tell. But I think that's what they were definitely going for. But besides that, those are the main buildings. There's nothing too much on this floor. It's kind of hard to put these back in sometimes. But that's kind of what's going on up here. So this is the third level, and this is where it's kind of the new Ninjago City part. And first off is this massive tree, which has a lot of these nice kind of light green pieces. And they're kind of built through tubes, which is kind of cool how they did that to make it look like a big tree kind of spreading out. So that's a really cool build. You can also tell that is a Ninjago 10-year anniversary part, which is in some of the cheaper sets. I'll even show that with the Wu figure at the end. But that is a kind of just marked as a 10-year anniversary set. There's a lot of cool kind of build techniques here. And there's two main shops on this floor. First is an ice cream store, and the other is Chen's Noodle House. This in particular is an awesome thing that I'm so glad we finally got in a Lego set. You can kind of see it, but that's supposed to be the Chen Noodle House guy with the face and everything. It's kind of easier to see at certain angles because it's lower on the ground now. He's holding the two noodle bowls, and this just looks incredible. The front of the Noodle House also has these kind of hot dog pieces for the roof. That looks pretty cool. The inside is kind of small, but there's a little area where a person would cook. And of course the rest of it is kind of the seating inside, which is this one kind of seating area of two seats. And it's one table. Kind of small area, but what they did for it is pretty interesting at least. For the ice cream store, it's a bit, it's still small, but there's room for a figure to kind of serve ice cream. The seating is kind of just all over the place. They use these video game controllers as this little roof part. Again, the roof techniques are incredible in this set. They even have a little section where it's like looks like spilled ice cream. And there's these kind of parts on a hinge so that it kind of supports the freezer there. That looks cool. There's also the stairs, which just goes to the next level. And the sign is interesting too because they have this like, I feel this is a newer piece. You can move it out and it's kind of hard to remove, but it's pretty much like a 3x3 circle piece, which is and also a lot of these kind of cool signs. These light fixtures are annoying though because they keep falling off. They're kind of simply built and kind of shake a bit, so whenever you're trying to remove it, they always fall out. So you have to remember to put them around. Again, they fall off a lot, so you kind of have to move them under here. Also, there's some interesting figures on this floor. First off is a robot, which it reminds me of those Exoforce robots a little bit, but what's weird is that they use the baby harness piece upside down, and they put some pieces inside of there to make it look like a robot's head and eyes. And it's weird, but it's interesting. So, I don't know, it's a definitely interesting kind of build for that. There's a table, detachable table, which they use some extra parts from. Dog, this guy, he's just chilling by the entrance there, and a kid. So just some more civilian figures on this floor. Of course, a lot of greenery and stuff. So finally we have the last couple floors, and this is definitely the kind of biggest area. There's a lot more parts to it. And of course there's this big tower, which I'll get into. I love the building techniques for that in particular. First off, they use this kind of roller coaster piece. It kind of moves around, sways to sway or whatever. It's just kind of sitting there for detailing, because this section doesn't have too much else in the front, but this part in particular does kind of come off, but that's because there's a certain way to get inside. So first off, there is this kind of, it's just this small building. There isn't much to it. It's just like a table in there with a plant. But there's this section where it's like one of the mechanics' henchmen on a flying bike, which is connected. And of course, there's Zane there. Nothing too special about her. Of course, I have Kai on there too. The only other thing to note is that inside you can move up these treasure chest pieces, and there's 2 roller skates and an orange helmet, which is a reference to season 4 of the show, which is a scene in there. Surprised they even did that, but that's a kind of cool thing they did. This whole tower can come off, and that's kind of there. This section here, first off, there's that kind of fish, and they use those new Mario leg pieces that they use for Mario's enemies. This section here has the ninja kind of posing on a photo, which is weird because young Lloyd is in this set. There's also a TV where Cole's playing a video game. It looks like Techno Blades. So of course there's that. There's a cap on the wall. And what's also cool is that inside of here is a video game console, or what, not console, but a video game kind of machine. And if you move this up, this ninja figure inside moves up and down to, defeat the snake. And it's a cool technique because they just have this like Technic pin moving this tile up and down, and you connect it to that one stud on the wall, which I don't see studs on wall techniques for certain things like this before, but it kind of, make sure it's in there good. There's also a telescope, which is built with a sync piece to kind of match with the gold. That's an interesting technique. And of course there's a ladder in the back, and what's cool about that ladder is that with this gear piece you can move it up and down. So, and especially there is a Space Police poster which you can remove. That is amazing. It's one of my favorite old Lego themes. I don't know too much from it, but they have 2 of the 2010 sets displayed on the background, 2 of the Space Police ships, and they even have, I think, Wrench is his name, him in the poster, him in a different outfit of course, but it's still cool that they included him. So I love the Space Police references. And you can also take this roof part off of the museum, which they have the Ninjago History Museum. They have it was supposed to be a dragon, but it's a kind of small dragon. But of course, I think they just wanted to represent it somehow. I think it would have been cool if they had a Grundle reference, which is a very old Ninjago reference from the show, if you remember that. And so there's the museum. Of course, this part kind of came off because it's big, but to easily get access inside of it, you can slide this whole top part down. This part kind of comes out easily. This is the basic part of the museum. On here is just what's supposed to be the yin blade, but it's very not that well done, honestly. They could have done that a bit better. That's pretty sure what's supposed to be Sensei Yang. Dragon poster, or actually I think it's more of a snake. Yeah, the snake poster. I don't know why I said dragon. I think Kai's parents. So that's what's on that wall. Definitely could have done that part better, but they have some cool murals and stuff here. Of course, we have young Lloyd. We've never gotten a young Lloyd in a suit before, so that's amazing to get that finally. You have a snake staff. I think they definitely should have used the old mold. A poster painting of the ninja fighting with their golden weapons. A small mini version of the Destiny's Bounty. That's amazing. Video camera, and then this is the kind of entrance area where Mistaka is, or Misago. Cool to get her again, because she only really comes in expensive sets now. But this is my second version of her. Nice. I like how they put the coat over her instead of just doing the normal version. You can put her inside of this museum. There's a realm crystal on display, some postcards, and this is a small mini version of the Sensei Yang's temple, which is I forgot what the set was called, but it was a $200 set. It was the first ever direct-to-consumer Ninjago set. A little postcard spinning wheel and turnstile to get in, which uses a weed piece. You kind of see it, but kind of interesting how they do that. And the back has some railings. Another telescope. This time in like a kind of gray color. Person of pretzel there, and a lot of railings. And this is where you'd get in, of course, to the museum. So also you have an apartment. This is a piece from the Unikitty series that they use for TV. That's incredible. It's cool to get that in a set. We usually don't get that kind of stuff. And there's not much in this apartment besides a bed and some paintings and stuff. But some interesting stuff in here, somewhat. It's a really small bed though, but they used an armor piece for that plant pot. That's cool. So something I forgot to mention is that there is a safe here, and this is where you get the diamond that the thief stole. Just kind of wanted to mention that. They used that crate piece that was introduced a couple years ago. So that's, you know, again, some cool techniques. I also, there's like that purple, kind of wanted to mention that again. There's a lot of things I missed because there's so many different things going on with this set. So the final part is the tower, which of course had these light blue pieces, the Nexonite pieces, and they mixed it with this light pink panel piece. That is amazing building technique. They do it with these like turning gear pieces, but whenever you're trying to pick it up, because this is a kind of room where it's to put some extra stuff, it always separates like that, and that's kind of annoying because what you're trying to do is you're trying to remove it like that, so it kind of gets in the way, but whatever. Inside is Jay's suit, and there's no kind of normal head. It's like a translucent yellow. That's an awesome kind of headpiece to get. You don't get it too often. There's a Johnny Thunder poster for like a movie, kind of reference to the 90s stuff. Pretty cool. And then this is a Jaws poster, but they use the Ultra Agents Robo Shark, which is interesting. It's not that big, of course, but it's kind of cool that they use that. And you can slide it in through some pieces. That's pretty much what's in this room. It's just like extra stuff. But I'm glad they put it somewhere instead of off to the side. But you would have to put this part back on and then match it up. And the final part to the set is, of course, Golden Woo. This is probably one of the rarest Ninjago figures now, due to how expensive this set is at $300, and because it just looks incredibly well done. So it's all in gold. You can take this hat off. You're not used to get that, but what's awesome is that they have his hairs, his white hairs, this kind of lighter gold, and when you see its reflection, that is incredible. They even did his beard in like a gold color. That is awesome. That's a better look at that 10 years plaque, but incredibly well done figure. And of course I have him on this kind of thing. That's incredibly well done. They don't have, that's the main reason they don't have Woo in the set, because they have the golden version of him for display. So incredible job, Lego. So overall, this is the largest Lego set I own at this point. It is massive. There's a lot of stuff in it, and as you can see, it's just immaculately beautiful and well done. So of course, one of the best Lego sets I have right now. Still, I like the original Lego Ninjago City better. It's just more nostalgic to me because that was the first big Lego set I bought with my own money, and it still, I just remember building this one more, and I didn't fully build this one too. It is still really big though. Thank you guys for watching this really long video, and see ya.